Hey there, and welcome back. I'm handing out quests again, with our location this week being Darkshore. I chose to prepare some escort quests for players because I figured it would make things a bit more interesting, let's hope. There were some issues that came up because of this, but I just had to do my best and see how it went. Let's go. I started off in Bashalaran, a spot near Aberdeen where I knew lots of players would pass through. The hunter you saw in the intro stumbled upon me and accepted my quest. He just had to deal with a few sprites along the way, which wasn't really intense, but this quest was meant to be an introduction, to see if the player was willing to go further with the rest of the quests. I let him know that I'd start walking faster once we were further away from the ruins. It was a pretty peaceful walk. There weren't that many enemies on the way to Aberdeen. Though that didn't mean our hunter friend wouldn't find something to shoot at. So it was Billy. Once we made it to Aberdeen, it was time to give out a reward. This player seemed a little busy, so this was the only quest he went for. I went back to the ruins and found myself another hunter who was willing to help out. We got through the brief walk, and I gave him a nice gun for it. He seemed a bit more interested, so I offered him the next quest. This one required him to help me retrieve my belongings from a sunken ship nearby. He seemed happy enough to do it, so we headed for the beach. The shipwreck in question had the spirit of my crewmate, which he needs to kill before I can approach the vessel. As you can see, it's not too far from where we're at. A wise choice to take a breath. All done. Now I gotta act like I'm looting something down here. Okay, time for his rewards. Once we were back on land, I noticed his pet didn't have a name. So he gave me the honor of naming it for him. Now, of course, this was awesome, except there was one problem. I have a cat too. I found her limping on the streets a few weeks ago, and it took a while to get her healed up, but she's fine now, and she's very attached to me, ultra noisy, will not let me sleep, So as a result of all that exhaustion and my allergies, this was the best thing I could come up with for that hunter's pet. Well, at least he seemed happy with it. This mage already completed the escort quest from the ruins and the Sunken ship quest, and was on his third and final one. I asked him to protect me while I cleansed the spirit of a dead thresher on the shore. Man, that was a tongue twister. And yes, I am casting Teleport Moonglade as my cleansing spell. I like this quest because it allows the player to fight a good few Murlocs without worrying about collecting anything. And it lets us be there while it happens. I had to move around to different spots to make sure he was dragged into as many fights as possible. Now that the ritual was complete, it was time for his reward. Many more adventurers chose to participate. And although I did enjoy doing escort quests, I found it a bit more difficult to type and keep them in frame while we were moving. It was still fun though. I also realized why actual escort quests usually spawn extra mobs along the way. It's pretty hard to find an area with lots of enemies to walk through. Even harder when you're trying to choose a starting point that players often come to. I was happy to see so many willing people, and even happier to know that they all walked away with some nice upgrades. Hope you enjoyed this one. As always, thanks for being here.